And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of Culturally Conscious Communications here on the LIB Radio, LIB TV, and LivingInBlack.com networks. My name is Keedy Owado, aka The Conscious Rockstar. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Wednesday, the 13th of November, 2024 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6264 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and LivingInBlack.com. I'm going to continue a series of conversations that I've been having towards the aim of launching an initiative, a project for those of us who live a life of holistic health. This is for you. I think you can get really excited about today's conversation and about the project. Let's go into talking about what we're going to do. And by the end of the show, I'm going to invite a limited number of you, a limited number of us, to come together and pull together and do something together. I've done this once before in my life, and it turned out to be absolutely fantastic. And I want to do it again. So here's what, let me give you a description of what we are to do today. Bear with me. I have a lot of different windows open, but I think I've got all of this. On today's program, holistic stem cell therapy, natural proliferation and activation. Today on LIB Radio, the body has a DNA encoded process for replacing cells that relies on stem cells. Stem cells are cells with a potential to develop into many different types of cells in the body. They serve as a repair system for the body. There are two main types of stem cells: embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Our ability to create the ideal internal environment that facilitates the maximum function of stem cell creation and differentiation is key to conscious control over our relationship to aging. So that is the nature of the conversation we're going to be having today. This is really exciting stuff. I get very excited when I engage in this type of research. There is a lot to know, a lot to learn, and I'm still growing into it, and I'm hoping I can convince a number of you to want to grow into it as well. This is not the first conversation on stem cells we've had. In fact, we had one maybe just about a month or so ago. And I'm going to be going into it, but what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be sharing you some insights. Now, for the collective group, I'm looking for a group that wants to do this together. I did it once before. In fact, let me, real quickly, before I go into it, let me just do a short bragging moment. I'll have to find this photograph of myself. This photograph is under Keedy Pictures. I have a whole folder of just images of me. And I'm looking for a picture that's, the title would be Before and After. So let's go finding these before and after. Let's try this again, typing it correctly. Before and after photographs. And I have 21 days to golden before and after, 21 days to brilliance before and after, autumn equinox before and after. I have a number of before and after. And before and after of August, and I didn't see that one. Yes, I did. I want you to tell me if you can see a difference here in these photographs I'm about to show you, okay? So let me present the screen. I hope you don't mind, but I get excited about this stuff. Really. I mean, if you had a chance to create a Benjamin Buttons situation where the older you got, the younger your body got, would you get excited about it? I would hope so. So I'm looking to show you a window, and this window is a photograph. It's actually two different photographs. This is a composite. This is from March 2021. So here's what I had to say. Let me see if I can make this as large as possible. Here we go. I just underwent a 56-day living superfood rejuvenation program. Can you see a difference? And this is a class that I have taught 2-3 times, I think, over the past several years. It's a 21-day class that I've been teaching called Rejuvenation Program. This time, I'm going to step it up, and I'm going to make it 56 days. That's two 28-day lunar cycles. We do believe in Kemetic cosmology, of which I am an ordained priest. We do believe in cycles of the moon, cycles of the sun. We do believe in the grand cycle. I think it's 26,000 years that the entire galaxy turns around. So what I am going to be doing is taking two lunar cycles, 56 days, and I am going to engage in, and I'm going to do the best I can to convince as many of you as possible to engage in a self-experimentation. Now, here's the beautiful thing about it. This self-experimentation uses no pharmaceutical drugs. It does use supplements. It uses food. It uses exercise. It uses the natural processes, what we call holistic processes. It's not alternative medicine. No, this is just life, wellness, lifestyle. But here, look at the pictures. Now, admittedly, the picture on the left, well, you can see the difference in, just look at the face. The lighting on the left is not as good as the lighting on the right. But I think you can see, you can definitely see there is a bit of weight loss there. Even though on the left I wasn't heavy, I was just, what did I say, summer thick. But before and after, and there is a distinction. You can see it around the eyes. You can see it in the shape of the face as well, with the jawline coming in a little trimmer. This is what I'm talking about. This happened in 2 months, 56 days. Basuranda, I see you in the house today, Basuranda, and greetings, blessings to you as always, my beloved sis star. Another one who I think really does appreciate, knows about the regenerative power of food, nutrition, lifestyle, exercise, of good living, of right mind, positive outlooks, laughter, and just being a good person, a generous person. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let me go into some science. Now, I'm going to try not to overwhelm you with science, although I will say this much. What I am studying on these subjects related to what am I talking about? Relating to stem cells, stem cell differentiation. What I am studying, it is a very, very advanced position, advanced degree of studies. If I were enrolled in college, I would be pursuing this at a doctoral level studies. I am considering writing a book on stem cells because the amount of research that I've piled up is really quite significant at this particular point. But right now, I'm focusing more on the 2 books to come out. There is a little bit, in fact, there is a chapter relating to stem cells on autoimmune disorders, especially dealing with vitiligo, which is one of the diseases for which stem cell therapy is being proliferate. Is that the word? Is being offered. So, prof- that's a word. There's a word there. I can't remember what it is. As a writer, you always want that perfect word to fit just the idea. And sometimes that perfect word you have to actually search for it. I've heard it before, and I can search for it. But here, let's go into today's research. Now, here's the thing. I started doing this research on stem cells maybe 20 years ago. I've done multiple broadcasts over it. In fact, on my YouTube page, I did find one of my older broadcasts on this that was dumped when YouTube canceled my other account. And so I found this one. I said, oh, they won't find objection to this. It's something entirely different. So I pushed that one over there as well on my secondary YouTube page. So here's the thing. Let's go into this and bear with us as the alarm outside my door has just gone off, and other people are in the house and somebody in the kitchen triggered that. So I'm just going to go ahead and speak right through that. I hope you don't mind. So I just underwent what I can do is this. While I'm waiting on that, and I can actually maybe take a time to go solve that problem, I'm going to put up a short video on stem cells. So bear with me, everybody. This is well worth waiting for. Video details. I'm looking for stem cells. Stem cells. And just real quickly, let me just explain stem cells on this video for those of you listening along. This video is just about 4 minutes long from Craig Cohn. This is a TED Talk. So let me stop this screen and let me start this other screen. And I will take a very short pause. Oh, the noise just stopped. Okay, well, let me put it up anyways. Since it took me a while to find that screen. What are stem cells? I'm going to share with audio. This is going to last just about 4 minutes. I hope you find, I'm watching this for the first time, I hope you find it to be informative and inspiring. This is on the subject of What Are Stem Cells by Craig A. Cohen. Let me share this with you, if you don't mind.
Imagine two people are listening to music. What are the odds that they are listening to the exact same playlist? Probably pretty low. After all, everyone has very different tastes in music. Now, what are the odds that your body will need the exact same medical care and treatment as another person's body? Even lower. As we go through our lives, each of us will have very different needs for our own health care. Scientists and doctors are constantly researching ways to make medicine more personalized. One way they are doing this is by researching stem cells. Stem cells are cells that are undifferentiated, meaning they do not have a specific job or function. While skin cells protect your body, muscle cells contract, and nerve cells send signals, stem cells do not have any specific structures or functions. Stem cells do have the potential to become all other kinds of cells in your body. Your body uses stem cells to replace worn-out cells when they die. For example, you completely replace the lining of your intestines every 4 days. Stem cells beneath the lining of your intestines replace these cells as they wear out. Scientists hope that stem cells could be used to create a very special kind of personalized medicine, in which we could replace your own body parts with, well, your own body parts. Stem cell researchers are working hard to find ways in which to use stem cells to create new tissue to replace the parts of organs that are damaged by injury or disease. Using stem cells to replace damaged bodily tissue is called regenerative medicine. For example, scientists currently use stem cells to treat patients with blood diseases such as leukemia. Leukemia is a form of cancer that affects your bone marrow. Bone marrow is the spongy tissue inside your bones where your blood cells are created. In leukemia, Some of the cells inside your bone marrow grow uncontrollably, crowding out the healthy stem cells that form your blood cells. Some leukemia patients can receive a stem cell transplant. These new stem cells will create the blood cells needed by the patient's body. There are actually multiple kinds of stem cells that scientists can use for medical treatments and research. Adult stem cells or tissue-specific stem cells are found in small numbers in most of your body's tissues. Tissue-specific stem cells replace the existing cells in your organs as they wear out and die. Embryonic stem cells are created from leftover embryos that are willingly donated by patients from fertility clinics. Unlike tissue-specific stem cells, embryonic stem cells are pluripotent. This means that they can be grown into any kind of tissue in the body. A third kind of stem cells is called induced pluripotent stem cells. These are regular skin, fat, liver, or other cells that scientists have changed to behave like embryonic stem cells. Like embryonic stem cells, they too can become any kind of cell in the body. While scientists and doctors hope to use all of these kinds of stem cells to create new tissue to heal your body, they can also use stem cells to help understand how the body works. Scientists can watch stem cells develop into tissue to understand the mechanisms that the body uses to create new tissue in a controlled and regulated way. Scientists hope that with more research, they can not only develop specialized medicine that is specific to your body, but also better understand how your body functions, both when it's healthy and when it's not.
That one was by Craig Cohn. I hope you did appreciate that. And we do continue. Craig A. Cohn, I did put up a link for those of you who want access to that particular file. And of course, make sure you give respect to those who offered that. So let us continue. We are now talking today, and I'm going to go deeper into stem cells. I've got two big bodies of information open. First of all, just a little bit more introductory to those of you unfamiliar. The body has a DNA encoded process for replacing cells that relies on stem cells. These are differentiated cells with the potential to develop into many types of cells in the body. They serve as a repair system for the body. There are two main types of stem cells. Again, embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Our ability to create the ideal environment, internal environment that facilitates the maximum function of adult stem cell creation and differentiation is key to conscious control over our relationship to aging. Now, I'm going to be flipping between these two different documents. Let me just give you a couple more paragraphs here, kind of introducing it. Then we're going to go into other documents that talk about the different therapies, stem cell therapies that are being proposed, developed, and experimented on. A spectrum of nutrition and lifestyle components facilitates stem cell optimization. These include full spectrum hypernutrition, proper utilization of protein metabolism, supplementation, adequate functioning for reactive oxygen species ROS, and stress reduction. Now, I can talk about stem cell exhaustion. As the body replaces cells, new cells are differentiated from blank cells, stem cells. From blank slate stem cells. New cells are differentiated from blank slate stem cells. These can make as many as 200 different types of cells that are integrated into organic tissues of a particular functionality. Fewer stem cells means less regeneration, meaning we start to show signs of getting old. So that is one of two documents that I have up here. And I'm going to go to the other one over here. entitled Boost Your Stem Cells to Rejuvenate Your Life. So just a few points. Point number one, stem cells are undifferentiated cells that have the capacity to both differentiate and multiply into the 200 cell types that form a human being. In total, the human body is composed of an estimated 30 to 50 trillion cells, making stem cells extremely important to human development. Point two, nicotinamide riboside shows evidence of enhancing the health span as well. This is vital because added years of low quality life do not represent for most people much of a gain. Added years of low quality life, living longer but living sick during that longer period, that's not good. That's not much of a gain. Point number three, we're talking about the nicotinamide that I'd mentioned in previous year, NAD+, is shown to renew existing stem cells, repair broken DNA, and extend lifespan. Point four, the positive health benefits of taking CoQ10 are so well established that it has become one of the most popular supplements. And many doctors, even conservative ones, are starting to recommend it. A number of different nutritional strategies help us to revitalize our stem cell production. You saw the before and after picture I showed you of 56 days of my first experiment with the knowledge that I was gaining on stem cells in March 2021. You saw the end of that 56 days. Well, we're going to go back into it knowing even more. And also, much of our strategy is reducing the toxic exposures that damage stem cells. Toxic exposures are known to potentially damage stem cells, and they include a number of them. And I have them listed just real quickly. Let's go through some of these. These are in alphabetical order. Toxic exposures that are known to damage stem cells include asbestos, causes oxidative stress and inflammation. Chemicals, certain industrial chemicals, such as benzene and formaldehyde, ethylene oxide, pesticides, especially organophosphates, have been linked to stem cell toxicity, along with industrial solvents like toluene, trichloroethylene, and benzene, toxic to stem cells. Point three, endocrine disruptors, chemicals that interfere with hormone function, like bisphenol A, BPA, and phthalates, negatively affect stem cell behavior. These have been shown to disrupt prostate organoid morphology and alter stem cell dynamics. Environmental pollutants. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, particulate matter, can cause DNA damage and inflammation. Now, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, where do we recognize them from? From barbecued meats that are known to be carcinogenic. PAHs, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. That's why I don't grill foods. I don't heat things up over certain temperatures, because the hotter they get, the more we see the formation of these carbon molecules that don't exist in nature unless there is a tragedy of a fire. If there's a tragedy of a fire and animals get caught up in that fire, those animals burn up and their meat chars and turns black on the surface and the animal dies. Well, if we eat that, the death from that death process is absorbed into our body. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. The other one is HCAs, heterocyclic amides. They both come from barbecuing, from grilling. Those black grill marks that you like on your nitrate-filled hot dog. That's what we're talking about. Environmental pollutants, and we mentioned that. The next one, heavy metals. Lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic can interfere with stem cell function and lead to cellular damage. Prolonged exposure to these substances causes epigenetic changes and cell death. Cadmium, which is a known human carcinogen, has been linked to lung cancer. It can damage stem cells and disrupt cancer-related pathways. Infectious agents. Certain viruses, examples given HIV and Epstein-Barr virus, are said to be injurious to the process of stem cells. Loss of stemness. This refers to the decline or the disappearance of stem cell properties, such as self-renewal, multipotency, and ability to maintain tissue homeostasis. This phenomena, loss of stemness, can occur in various stem cell types, including mesenchymal stem cells, MSCs, hematopoietic stem cells, hematopoietic stem cells, HSCs, and embryonic stem cells, ESCs. This condition, loss of stemness, is caused by epigenetic modifications, DNA mutations, and inhibition of reverse transcriptase, and is associated with tissue dysfunctions such as cancer. You can see, I hope you can see just how critically important is this field of study that we are dealing with today. What are stem cells? Let's keep on going. We're talking about these conditions that injure stem cells, damage stem cell function. Pesticides. Some studies suggest that exposure to certain pesticides can adversely affect stem cell health, causing mitochondrial dysfunction and cell death. Organophosphate pesticides, such as chlorpyrifos, which is still widely used in agriculture, DDT and dioxin, cause epigenetic changes, induce stem cell toxicity, and loss of stemness, as they also alter gene expression. Next on our list, pharmaceuticals. Certain medications, especially those used in chemotherapy, including alkylating agents, and certain antibiotics, example given chloramphenicol, that's the word, can be mutagenic and cytotoxic to stem cells. Mutation and cytotoxic meaning deadly to stem cells. Next on this list of processes that are injurious and we want to eliminate from our lives, radiation, ionizing radiation. It includes DNA breaks and cellular damage that can cause direct damage to stem cells and impair their ability to function properly. We're talking about examples of ionizing radiation, including X-rays, gamma rays, but also non-ionizing radiation, such as ultraviolet radiation. Ultraviolet, that's from direct sunlight, can cause direct damage to stem cells and impair their ability to function properly. So going forward, we've come across quite a good of information. Let me share with you one article that I put in my arsenal. I haven't seen this article in a while, so I'll be going back to this after some time of being away from it. And let me share with you one article on this topic, and let's see what they have to say. Bear with me. Open this tab, paste the article. This is from Life Extension Magazine, one of my favorite journals. This one is written by Mickey Johnston from October 2024. Life Extension Magazine is entitled Nicotinamide Riboside Reprograms Aging Stem Cells. In a recently published study, scientists found that nicotinamide riboside has the ability to reprogram dysfunctional stem cells, returning them to more youthful function. And again, you saw the before and after picture, a 56-day program. Something happened inside my body. It really did. And you know something? I'm ready for that something to happen again. Here we go. A study published in the leading academic journal Science showed that supplementation of aged mice with nicotinamide riboside, a form of vitamin B3, resulted in both increased lifespan and enhanced health span. Again, supplementation of aged mice with nicotinamide riboside, a form of vitamin B3, resulted in both increased lifespan and enhanced health span, meaning not only living longer, but those longer years are healthy years. This is what we want. Scientists found that nicotinamide riboside has the ability to reprogram dysfunctional stem cells to function as they did in youth. Although this study was done in mice, it suggests enormous potential and promise for nicotinamide riboside to halt and reverse human aging factors. Nicotinamide riboside functions to boost cell levels of the energy factor NAD+. In this article, we will review the implications of this research for human longevity. We will also review the beneficial impact of nicotinamide riboside on obesity, fatty liver disease, and cognitive impairment. Now, let's just stop and weigh those. Obesity. Overweight obesity is a tragic pandemic affecting United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Canada, many of the Western developed nations. Serious problem with overweight obesity. It's not so much a problem, even though it is becoming more problematic in developed East Asian countries. We can see that overweight obesity is rising rather dramatically in South Korea, while in North Korea it's almost absent due to, of course, nutrition and malnutrition factors in those two countries. But they are essentially the same people. But because their culture and societies are structured so distinctively different, it becomes rather dramatic when you're in the northern part of the Korean peninsula and you see overweight obesity very rare. And then you just travel a few kilometers south of the dividing line, the demilitarized zone, to Seoul, Korea, where you see the problem of overweight and obesity is becoming much more pronounced rather rapidly. And the same is true inside of the United States. But I think that Korean peninsula gives us a very stark example of how this difference between lifestyle creates different national outcomes in health and wellness. So we're talking about obesity, overweight obesity, highly problematic, especially with the younger generations now. It's quite problematic and getting worse so rapidly. We also have the second problem it here said nicotinamide riboside has a beneficial outcome on fatty liver disease. Now, there are two types of fatty liver disease, two different causes, I would say. There is, of course, alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is related to the cirrhosis of the liver caused by the degeneration from toxicity of alcohol. And then there is the other non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, as it's abbreviated. And that is a metabolic syndrome disease. That is the consequence of malnutrition and your body's inability to process the high amounts of processed foods, processed carbohydrates, sugar, and white flour, and these other highly processed carbohydrates that the body, the liver, the pancreas are just not set up to dealing with. And that causes insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is almost always going to be associated with advancing the aging process, including the onset of and development and proliferation of metabolic syndrome diseases. According to my list, which I contend is probably the most comprehensive list of metabolic syndrome diseases ever published, according to my list, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease comes in at number 10 of the metabolic syndrome diseases we have identified. Whereas many doctors, many facilities, many articles, including the Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, MD Anderson Clinic, when they talk about metabolic diseases, they will list usually between 5, sometimes 6. I've seen 1 or 2 list 7 different metabolic diseases, but I list 10. My 10 include overweight, obesity, includes abdominal or visceral adiposity. It includes imbalance in the cholesterol levels, includes high levels of triglycerides in the blood, includes hypertension, includes hyperglycemia, which is diabetes or prediabetes. It includes progressive nephropathy, which is advancing kidney dysfunction. It also includes disruption of the gut microbiome. My definition of metabolic syndrome diseases includes cancer and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's 10. If someone knows of more than 10 that would be considered diseases of metabolism, we're talking specifically about metabolism, you let me know. Help your brother out. Let's do this research together. This is very, very good area for us to be researching. So, and then the third one of these categories, the beneficial impact of nicotinamide riboside on obesity, fatty liver disease, and cognitive impairment. Now, this cognitive impairment has a broad range. It actually is related to, dependent on, and in line with, coincides with neurodegenerative diseases. So cognitive impairment is going to be malfunction of the neurological system and the ganglia, the structures of the brain, the tissue and the structures of the brain. Again, much of what we're talking about with stem cells is about tissues. The brain is made up of what are called, not ganglia, I said ganglia, I meant glial cells. Now, here I just caught myself in the middle of 2 different words, similar but distinctively different. So let me just quickly look up the difference between what are ganglia. I've got a search engine open over here. What are ganglia? What are ganglia? Question mark. And I don't want to see a picture. I want to look at all ganglia. Real quickly, explanation. We're talking about anatomy, function, and treatment of the ganglia. Ganglia are clusters of nerve cell bodies located in the PNS. And of course, that's a structure of the brain, the ganglia. And then the other question is, what are glial cells? What are glial cells in the brain? So they're both closely related. That's why I confuse them. Glial cells are an important role in supporting the brain. Glial cells are a type of cell that provides physical and chemical support to neurons and maintains their environment. Located in the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, glial cells are sometimes called the glue of ... So ganglia and glial cells closely related, so not too bad, Kitty. Here we go. Let's continue. We're talking about nicotinamide riboside and the potential benefits of nicotinamide riboside. So going forward, where are we at? Landmark study. Here they're talking about an international group of researchers investigated the impact of nicotinamide riboside on lifespan and functions related to overall health. The results, published in mid-2016, were remarkable. Again, I'm reading from Life Extension magazine. I hope you find this to be useful. Here, let me just share this research article. I did share a little bit earlier the video that I played for you, but now share this research article so you can have access to it as well. And real quickly, we are here on I'm sharing this on, where we at? Sharing this on my Facebook page as well. Here we go. One more share, and then we're going to go into the next part of this article. What was that about? Here we go. And where are we at? Share the link. There we go. Life Extension magazine. Let's pick it up where we left off. Reading from Life Extension, an international group investigated their results, published in mid-2016, included, they talked about aged mice, 24 months old, treated with nicotinamide riboside for 6 weeks, survived on average 5% longer than control mice. Now, 5% in 24 months, that's 1/20th. They lived in actually an average month older. But if we're talking about 5% when it comes to human beings with an average lifespan of just right around 75 years, 1/20th of that, say that's a gain of 5 years. That's not so bad. Not so bad at all. Just using one supplement, nicotinamide riboside. Point. While this may seem to be fairly modest increase, consider 2 points. First, the supplementation began when the mice were already fairly advanced in age. Second, the average human life expectancy today is about 78.8 years. Okay, I said 75. I need to upgrade to 78.8. A 5% increase in this figure would add nearly 4 years, a significant increase if those years are healthy and rewarding ones, no doubt. Perhaps more importantly, this study suggested that the supplemented animals were healthier overall compared with controls. Here are the highlights of those findings. Highlight number 1, point. Aged mice supplemented with nicotinamide riboside demonstrated increases in maximal running times and distances and in grip strength. Point 2, chemically damaged muscle tissue from supplemented mice was regenerated faster, and regenerated muscle was bulkier than in mice fed the control diet. Point 3, supplemented mice showed increased proliferation and development of new brain cells, especially in the memory-intensive hippocampus region of the brain compared with control animals. Hey, listen, this is really getting exciting to me. I hope you find this to be exciting as well. What I'm going to do real quickly is go to just check online to one of my favorite places to go to get supplements. And I'm looking for nicotinamide, nicotinamide, riboside, riboside, nicotinamide riboside. And I spelled it wrong, but it should find it. No, it didn't. Let's try it again. Nicotinamide riboside. Let me just copy, cut, and paste it. Because when I talk and type at the same time, sometimes that don't work out so well. Nicotinamide riboside. And here it's coming up. So I see this supplement, and I do have this in my arsenal. I've been using it recently. Life Extensions NAD Plus Cell Regenerator Nicotinamide Riboside. The cost for this is how many capsules? There are two different ones. Life Extension Cell Plus Regenerator Nicotinamide. The cost can range anywhere from $18 to $40.50, or even I see another one here, $68, $1.14 per serving. So if you could take something that allows you to extend your life expectancy, and you had to use it daily, let's say, and it costs a little bit over $1 a day, or the one that I've been using costs actually 60 cents per serving. Would that be a good investment? You let me know. So proud to have that in my arsenal. My arsenal of anti-aging supplements. Now, let me remind you again. On December 1st, we're going to launch this initiative. My previous one was 56 days, 2 lunar cycles. So on December 1st, let's go into it. That will also overlap with around 22nd of December, the rebirth of the sun, the winter solstice, which will overlap with our detox campaign. And remember, we said earlier that heavy metal poisoning was one of the long list of processes known to be injurious and hurtful, harmful to stem cells. So this will overlap with the winter solstice detox. And should you wish to do this with us, that detox will also help you to take off significant amounts of weight. When I first went living food, raw food, vegan, living raw vegan, I had been vegan for 30 something years and then decided to go raw food, for which I was very strict with it for up to about 8 years before I started relaxing. Because once my body got in shape and just stayed in shape, I could relax a little bit and not have to worry about 97% raw food, etc. Now I do the best I can to be 80-20, 80% uncooked raw and only 20% cooked food, mainly things like beans and stir fry and those type of things. But when I went raw that month, I began that month, and I will admit, I was past 2 or 3 days before starting that detox fast, the spring of 2010, I was cleaning my refrigerator out. So I was eating everything that was in my refrigerator. And then I went into the 28 days, and it was a great fast. In 28 days, my weight declined by 26 pounds. I went from 176 the first day of the detox fast. On the last day, I was 150 pounds even. And the last morning, or the morning after the last day, I woke up and I did 610 sit-ups. That was, for at that time, that was my record. It was a record I thought would last for a lifetime. Later, I did 700, then I did 800, and the last time I went for the record of sit-ups was earlier this year. I did 1,000. So we have processes, people. They do work. I've been using them on my own body. Now I will to take this to as many of you, my family, my people, my beloved, loving family. You know, I can't say enough things about how much I appreciate love you. But I want to bring this to as many people as possible so that we can convince even more, far more people, many more people to join with us. I do see I have a good sized audience today. I want everybody, if you could please, hit the like button on your viewing broadcaster wherever you are. Drop a couple of words in, drop just a brief note, and let us know what you think about the conversation today. We are talking today about holistic stem cell therapy, natural proliferation and activation. We are not talking about anything that breaches your skin. No drawing stem cells out of your bone marrow, which is currently done as therapeutically. But I understand, from my understanding, it's a very, very painful process. And we don't necessarily believe that intrusion into the body and things that pierce the skin, that cause blood, that can be dangerous, I don't believe that those are necessary. You've heard me say many, many times, food is nature's most perfect medicine. And we're going to give you not only a long list of foods known to fight inflammation, deal with creation of nitric oxide, which is increased cardiovascular health through blood flow. And that is going to help to reduce hypertension. Hypertension diagnosis, high blood pressure diagnosis is rampant. Well, if we can get rid of it during the course of our 56 days, that's a very, very positive thing. And we do know that the hypertension, you can overcome hypertension in relatively short period of time using just natural hormone and health internal balancing mechanisms, homeostasis, balance it out. But we're going to come up with this great diet, and I have this formula. I'm not going to give out this formula over the air. The only people who are going to get the formula are the people who sign up for it. You're going to get this formula. I have the formula on my desk, and it includes supplements blended into a stem cell therapy smoothie. It's nutrition, and it is pretty doggone awesome. So I'm going to encourage each and every one of us to get active. Now, real quickly, because I was just doing this morning, I put up a link to where you will be able to join us. I'm going to put this up real quick. Do I have it on this page? I have two different research pockets of what I'm talking about today. And this one here has the link for those of you who want to join us. There are two different prices. You can pay two payments of $159.99. 160 times 2 comes to $320 for the 56-day course. And those two payments, you can make them 1 month apart. Or if you want to pay it all and save yourself $20, pay it all at one time. A single payment for the stem cell rejuvenation. The single payment is $299.99. So let me put that one up for those of you, and you can always text me. You know you can. You can always text me and learn more about how to do what we are to do and do it together. Do it together. Do it like champions. I just put up one link, and that link didn't work because it was probably too long to fit. So let me do it a second time. And this one is going up for the Rumble family. And I think I got it now. Let me just double check. And yes, there it is for the Rumble family. So you can join it. Love to have you with us. Love to have you. You know you would be so incredibly, wonderfully welcome to join. Let me put that up here for the YouTube family as well. Actually, I can get the whole thing in YouTube. It allows me a little bit longer of a link than does Rumble, and I'll double check it as well. And push that up for the Facebook family. For those of you who want to make a change, take a look at the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, and begin there to make the greatest change you could possibly make in your life, in the world, forever. That's our sacred mission. And we can do this, y'all. There's no doubt in my mind that we can do this. So we do have that link there for the YouTube family. And I think I got it. Have to verify everything. Okay, that one's working just fine. So here we go. Let's continue. We are today talking about stem cells, and you're going to hear me talk about this frequently. Why? Because I can. No, why? Because it's needed. That is the truth. So here we go. Back to my list. We're talking about, I'm going to go back to this other list. These are the different conditions. What diseases can stem cell rejuvenation and therapy help with? Now, when it comes to stem cell therapy, I'm going to differentiate what we're doing from what is commonly called stem cell therapy, because stem cell therapy is done by specialists who extract stem cells from the bone marrow. They do something to it in a test tube, and then they put it back into you, and then they charge you $5,000 to $60,000 for that type of strategy therapy, depending, of course, what the diagnosis is and how much they think they can get out of you. But what we are talking about is using the body's own natural processes. This is nature. This is already programmed within us. It's not experimentation. This is not surgery. This is just nature. So what diseases can stem cell rejuvenation, differentiation, and therapy help with? These include acute respiratory disease syndrome, ARDS, stem cell therapy using umbilical cord derived mesenchymal stem cells, UCMSCs, has been explored as a potential treatment for acute respiratory distress syndrome, with some studies demonstrating improved lung function and reduced inflammation. And you know what? ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome, one might say that's a fancy way of talking about a nasty cold. Yeah, acute meaning it's short acting, quick acting, short lifespan. Respiratory meaning it's of your lungs and or your respiratory system, could be the nasal passages. Distress meaning it's just out of order. And syndrome meaning a collection of symptoms that indicates that you have an acute respiratory distress. You literally could call the common cold and or flu acute respiratory distress syndrome. Point 2, Alzheimer's disease. They're using stem cells. Some of this is experimental. Number 3 on this list, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. Stem cell therapy is an area of active research in the context of advanced lateral sclerosis. The potential of stem cells to repair or regenerate damaged tissues has led scientists to explore their use as a treatment for ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And like Alzheimer's, like Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's disease, multiple sclerosis, we can point to a number of these different diseases that impact a body's ability to handle muscular movement, nervous cell signaling systems, etc. Autoimmune diseases, which some of them can be directly related to autoimmune diseases, especially MS, multiple sclerosis. Some studies are investigating the use of stem cells in treating diseases like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and even vitiligo, which is an autoimmune disorder, by resetting the immune system. And in the case of vitiligo, not only resetting the immune system to turn off the autoimmune stress, but also to assist the body to rebuild structures such as the melanocytes. There are an estimated 200,000 melanocytes per square centimeter of the skin. Melanocytes are responsible for creating melanin, which is an interface between the sun's ultraviolet B radiation and our body's own bioenergetic system. So, yeah, I said I wasn't going to get too deep, too complex in the conversation, in the dialogue today. I read something someone was writing about me. Oh, they were reviewing one of my books. And they were reviewing the book Living Superfood Longevity. And they said that the language can be a little bit burdensome scientifically, but it wasn't so bad that we couldn't follow along and understand along. So I appreciated it. I took that as a compliment. They gave the book 5 stars. I think 5 stars. Yeah, that set of reviews had 5 stars and 1 4-star, which a 4-star is very good. 5 stars, excellent. So I'm going to do the best I can during the whole course of this to use language enough to let you know that you're doing serious studies and it should be taken serious, but at the same time, make sure the language is accessible to everyone. And of course, always be there in case someone has a question. Well, you're talking about mesenchymal stem cells. What are mesenchymal stem cells? That's one where, yeah, I do have to explain what those are. Blood disorders, conditions like leukemia and lymphoma can be treated with stem cell transplants. Stem cell therapy offers hope for blood disorders like leukemia and lymphoma by enabling the replacement of damaged bone marrow, increasing production of normal red and white blood cells and platelets, enhancing immune function, and facilitating targeted treatments. These are leading to improved survival rates and quality of life. Next on these different diseases and disorders, cancer. Stem cell therapy provides valuable support for certain solid tumor cancers by countering the destruction caused by high-dose radiation and chemotherapy, restoring healthy bone marrow, and enhancing immune response, potentially improving treatment outcomes. It offers a promising avenue for patients with limited options and advanced disease stages. So, and I contend, and I'll need to, show you the research to back up this hypothesis. I contend that for cancer prevention, stem cell proliferation and differentiation is absolutely a must. It makes perfectly logical sense, but then in science you have to explain your pathway of perfect logic. And I can appreciate that process. The more I go to verify, validate my hypotheses like that, the more I learn, and more my capacity for mastering these fields is increased. Cardiovascular diseases. We're doing alphabetical order. We're just up to the C's. Stem cell therapy may aid in repairing heart tissue after a heart attack or in treating heart failure. Again, the stem cell can differentiate into 200 different types of cells. A number of those different types of cells will be involved in the extensive cardiovascular system. Yes, 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 yes. Chronic ischemic cardiomyopathy. Chronic meaning long lasting, slow to implement. Ischemic meaning delivery of oxygen through the blood. Cardiomyopathy meaning degeneration of cardiac chambers. So stem cell therapy using BMSCs, which are bone marrow stem cells, or adipose tissue derived stem cells, ATSCs, has been investigated for the treatment of chronic ischemic cardiomyopathy, with some studies showing improved cardiac function and reduced symptoms. I have a friend of mine who I've been consulting with, and this is something that he has been dealing with. He's got a few other conditions, and I proposed to him join this group, join this, and I'll offer him again. A real good person, a person who deserves longevity, a healthy, long lifespan. But he was reluctant because he says, I don't want to do all of that work. But I don't think that this is so much work. It's just really a matter of new habit formation. And of course, this formula that I'm going to be putting forward, the formula has like 21 different ingredients in it. And it's tasty too. It's in the form of a incredibly tasty smoothie. A version of this same smoothie was what got me out of the hospital when I was in the hospital in Eastern Africa, diagnosed with malaria. I had malaria. Let me say, I wasn't diagnosed with malaria. I had malaria. They diagnosed me with the 19. That's a whole nother topic. I'm not touching that today. Chronic lung conditions. We had talked about that earlier. Chronic lung conditions, congenital disorders. I have this long list here. Some of these are not filled out, so I have to go back in, do a little bit more research, explain what chronic lung conditions are to be benefited from stem cells. I did mention some of those a little bit earlier today, and I'm not going to go look for that. No need to repeat myself. Congenital disorders. Certain genetic disorders or birth defects may be treated with stem cell therapy to correct or replace defective cells using allogeneic stem cells, which are obtained from a compatible donor. And allogeneic means, of course, allo exposed to, and geneic meaning exposed to something that your response to that exposure gives you a genetic base. One might say epigenetic and or RNA based natural solution. But in this case, the allogenic stem cells are obtained from a compatible donor. So their body naturally works it out with the environment, and then they donate that to you with a stem cell donation. Diabetes. Research is ongoing into the use of stem cells to regenerate insulin-producing beta cells in the pancreas, which are located in the islets of Langerhans. These beta cells play a crucial role in regulating blood glucose levels by releasing insulin in response to elevated blood sugar. Very important process there with the pancreas, function of the pancreas. Pancreatitis, which is an infection of the pancreas, or pancreatic cancer, are very problematic and appear to be getting worse. Also, this function of the pancreas in creating insulin and regulating insulin also is deeply involved and engaged with the liver. And earlier we're talking, I'm sure it's going to come up when we get to the L's of here, the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease which is being proposed as another area where stem cell research and stem cell therapies are being developed. Eye diseases, conditions such as macular degeneration and retinal diseases are being explored for treatment with stem cells. Heart failure. Earlier we talked about cardiovascular diseases. Well, heart failure. Conditions such as stem cell therapy using bone marrow derived stem cells, BMSCs, or induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSCs, has been investigated for the treatment of heart failure, with some studies showing improved cardiac function and reduced scar tissue. Next on this list, alphabetical order, and let's see how much time I got. I won't be able to do the whole list today. Again, I'm going to be returning to this quite a bit, hoping, praying, doing the best I can to excite a group of people, a group of us. Let's do this together. Let's do this. Let's get a dozen of us. Let's get 20 of us to go through a 56-day period, meeting at least once a week using WhatsApp and doing a lot of research, and everyone get the formula and take this formula on a regular basis, 4 times a day, 4 times a week, 7 days a week. Let's do this. So next on this list, we've gotten up to hematological disorders, H. Conditions like leukemia, lymphoma, which are 2 types of blood cancer, and other blood disorders can be treated with stem cell transplants. Now, in this case, they're talking about transplants. In our case, we're talking about natural stimulation, differentiation, and proliferation, using food-based, nutrition-based methodologies, but also does include rest, it includes sleep, it includes detoxification, it includes hydration and breath management. All of the 7 principles of optimal health are operant in this exercise. All of them. Strict adherence. We're not going to deviate. Why? Because the reward is just so tremendous that if I can go on a program for 56 days and not deviate and get such a tremendous reward from it, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So let's go forward. We're talking about Huntington's disease. I had earlier mentioned Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. I had mentioned cognitive disorders, dementia, and Alzheimer's. Well, Huntington's disease is on this same generalized category. Stem cell therapy using pluripotent stem cells has been investigated for the treatment of Huntington's disease, with some studies showing improved motor function and reduced symptoms. Now, we have to just quickly, I'm pretty sure what they are, but let me give you a clarity of definition. What are pluripotent stem cells? Real quickly, pulling up a search engine. What are pluripotent stem cells? And the response, the answer to that is pluripotent. Here we go. We're talking about different types of stem cells. Pluripotent stem cells can develop into all of the cells of the adult body and can be derived from embryos or reprogrammed from adult cells. Reprogramming from adult cells is our mission. We're not going to take no stem cells out of somebody's baby's placenta or from stem cells out of a umbilical cord. No. We're not going to be taking stem cells from embryos. I think that's been banished. That's been banned. That's illegal in the United States now. But what we're going to do is programming. So pluripotent, just as I thought, pluripotent means the potential to differentiate into all 200 different forms of stem cell differentiation. Pluripotent. Plura meaning plural, potent meaning the potential. Good job. Here we go. Let's continue. We are now talking about ischemic heart disease. Stem cell therapy using bone marrow stem cells or adipose tissue derived stem cells, ATSCs, has been explored for the treatment of ischemic heart disease, with some studies demonstrating improved cardiac function and reduced infarct size. So when we're talking about ischemic, it means about blood flow. And ischemic heart disease meaning that the oxygen carrying capacity of the cardiovascular system is impaired. That's ischemic. You're not getting enough blood flow, enough oxygen. Liver diseases. Stem cells may have the potential to regenerate liver tissue in conditions like cirrhosis after cancer surgery or acute liver failure. And we covered that. And that's covered in the book that's coming out in just a few weeks now. This book will actually come out coinciding with the beginning of this program. So I guess I'll offer the new book, Living Superfood Solutions, as part of this offer of the stem cell proliferation course. And again, we spoke about the connection between the liver and the pancreas. Helping those two move positively together is undeniably a big victory for our healthy lifespan longevity. Motor neuron disease. Motor meaning ability to move, coordinate the muscles, and etc. Neuron disease. Stem cell therapy using pluripotent stem cells has been explored as a potential treatment for motor neuron disease, with some studies demonstrating improved motor function and reduced symptoms. Very important. Some people are consigned to wheelchairs because of motor neuron diseases. And these, of course, affect no small number of children. I'm trying to think of we see the TV commercials of the children in the wheelchairs. It's not multiple sclerosis, even though multiple sclerosis is kind of related, but the other one is congenital and it's not spina bifida. I'll think of it when I stop trying to think of it. Multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma is a type of cancer that originates in plasma cells, a type of white blood cell responsible for producing antibodies. This cancer typically occurs in the bone marrow, where the plasma cells become malignant and proliferate, leading to bone damage, kidney issues, and immune system dysfunction. Stem cell therapy is an option for multiple myeloma, particularly in cases where the disease is more aggressive or has relapsed after initial treatments. The most common stem cell therapy used for multiple myeloma is autologous stem cell transplantation, meaning they take it out of your body. They then use radiation and chemotherapy to essentially destroy your bone marrow, and then they put the stem cells back in to regrow the bone marrow. The most common stem cell therapy used for multiple myeloma is autologous stem cell transplantation, where stem cells are collected from the patient's own blood and bone marrow before they've undergone high-dose chemotherapy. After the chemotherapy, which aims to eliminate the cancer cells, the harvested stem cells are then infused back into the patient to help restore the bone marrow and blood cell proliferation. I understand the process, but I think it's largely unnecessary. I don't know if I have time to explain why I presume that that's largely unnecessary. For one, if they're extracting these stem cells from the bone marrow, there are inevitably going to be cancer mutated cells included in that. The size of the cells is just too small. You're not going to be able to pick through all of this extraction and pick out the cancer cells. And then they use high dose chemotherapy on the patient to essentially knock out their bone marrow. To knock out the cancer cells, they got to knock out the bone marrow. Because at that particular point, high dose chemotherapy is indiscriminate. So then they say to put it back in to regenerate the process and regrow the process. One of my clients' friends now, they proposed that he do this. And he didn't want to do it. And he refused to do it. And he was able to beat his myeloma, multiple myeloma. And he had another problem with the bones and the bone marrow cancer metastasizing, but he was able to beat that too. It beat him down. This brother Lewis, I'm talking about you. This brother is strong. Not only physically strong, he's fairly young man. Not only physically strong, but he's very mentally strong, brilliant. He did his research. He did a lot of research, and I was very proud that after doing all that research, he said, Keely, I had to come to you. Because I'm listening to all of these people talking about this. You're the one who makes the most logical sense according to me. So we came up with a protocol. And it took him a couple of years going up and down and up and down. He'd go up, getting good symptoms, and then have a secondary crisis come in. And he went through several cycles. I haven't talked to him in a few weeks. I obviously need to talk to him right now and see if he'll join my class or join our group. But I'm really, really proud. Very proud of my brother. Multiple sclerosis. Just real quickly, I'm going to begin to wrap it up because I'm getting a little tired. These are conditions for which stem cell therapies are being proposed, experimented on, reported, and practiced. Include multiple sclerosis through a range of approaches, including hematopoietic stem cell transplantation, mesenchymal stem cell therapy, neural stem cells, and other clinical trials to assess the safety and efficacy of these stem cell therapies. We're going to be focusing more on mesenchymal stem cell therapy. Mesenchymal stem cell therapy uses the body's own inherent process. And that's the one that I've done the most research on. And it's, from my perspective, least intrusive. Doesn't require piercing the body, drawing blood, separating blood plasma. It doesn't require extracting bone marrow, radiation, chemotherapy. No, we're not going to be doing any of that. I didn't do it in my 56-day program. And again, I showed you earlier the outcome of my own experience. And I'm going to show you once again. Here is the image. I'm sharing it. This is the image of what I looked like before and after. I just underwent a 56-day living superfood rejuvenation program. Can you see a difference? And I'm proud of this, to say the absolute least. I am wonderfully proud of having undergone that. Let me just begin to wrap it. I'm going to leave this image up to let you look at it, because I want you to imagine yourself before and after. And every time we do a program together, people, please, 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 from day one, take your before photographs. I cannot overemphasize that point. Many times when we're doing our weight loss, 21-day weight loss program, people are ashamed of themselves and they won't take a before picture. And then I hear them after a week saying, boy, I sure wish I had taken that before picture. Well, that's what I told you to do. And during the course of these programs, I'm going to be telling you what you do at every stage. And don't delay it. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. Don't delay. Don't procrastinate. Don't deny yourself life. Cannot overemphasize this point, because people have a tendency to do this self-denial. Real quickly, we're just going through what these disorders are, the basics. multiple sclerosis, musculoskeletal disorders like osteoarthritis, degenerative disc disease, spinal cord injuries may benefit from stem cell treatments and therapy aimed at regenerating cartilage, rebuilding joints, and other tissues. Neuroblastoma, type of cancer that affects the adrenal glands. Neurodegenerative diseases, such as stem cells for Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, Huntington's, and ALS. Huntington's, and various other diseases. So, going forward, organ regeneration. There is potential for stem cells to aid in the regeneration of organs like the liver and kidneys. And let me tell you, organs are soft tissue cells. Our body replaces soft tissue cells, I think it's every 11 months or so. Some of them even faster. So the cells make up the tissues, which make up the organs, which make up the body systems. When we generate healthy stem cell proliferation, when it's done just right, with an exact, precise DNA methylation, meaning expression of what the DNA code says, the same DNA code that made us from when we were embryos into humans, into adults eventually, that same DNA code is now supposed to give us the ability to differentiate stem cells. So therefore, we're going to turn this process on to whatever is left of it, whatever is remnants of it. We're going to stabilize it and activate it. This is exciting, people. So other conditions we're going to be dealing with: organ regeneration, Parkinson's disease, using pluripotent stem cells, premature ovarian insufficiency. We're starting to hear about this, especially in the aftermath of the pandemic and the injections of ovarian insufficiency and other conditions. I'm not going to go into that today. But premature or ovarian insufficiency, that is women dropping out of their fertility at younger ages. I have two situations I've dealt with people indirectly. I wish I dealt with them directly, but they just didn't contact me. I said, well, hey, let's solve this. But they're talking about young women in their late 20s to very early 30s, infertility. And this is happening more and more frequently. At the same time that's happening, women are deliberately delaying their first childbirth, and many times delaying their first childbirth by taking chemical birth control. And when we look at the long, long list of substances that are injurious to stem cells, I don't know whether birth control chemicals are on that list, but it does say chemotherapies, exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals, which is what birth control pills are, and also exposure to pharmaceutical drugs. So therefore, premature ovarian insufficiency, stem cell therapy using bone marrow derived mesenchymal stem cells, we're going to be using bone marrow derived mesenchymal, but we're going to be producing them naturally in the bone marrow and not extracting them, but allowing the body to transport these where needed throughout the body. And part of this transporting to where needed, part of that deals with exercise. Yes, 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 yes. Especially when we're talking about the reproductive organs, you have to get into a routine of exercising your reproductive organs. I do every day. And I'm not talking about that. No, I'm talking about the Kegels. That exercises the strength of these muscular tissues, and the supporting structure, the ligaments, etc. But it also increases the ability to pump oxygen through that system. Yes, it does work. Reverse signs of aging. An autologous approach, autologous meaning from the body's own materials, involves using a person's own stem cells to address various age-related conditions and possibly reverse some signs of aging. You see the picture right there on your screen. You tell me. Let your eyes tell you, and you tell me. Sickle cell. Among several approaches for treating sickle cell disease with stem cells include allogenic stem cell transplantation, meaning someone else's body has generated them, wherein healthy stem cells from a tissue-matched full sibling donor are transplanted into a patient with sickle cell, as well as adult blood-forming stem cells. Those would be bone marrow-derived mesenchymal stem cells, are genetically edited by adding a hemoglobin gene that blocks sickling of red blood cells. Well, we're not going there. We're not doing any gene editing. No, no, no. Let your body do what it does naturally. But I do believe that mesenchymal stem cells as a treatment for sickle cell makes perfectly logical sense. In fact, I had to go back into Dr. Savi's methodology for dealing with stem cells because he proved his system to work spectacularly. So that is going to be a chapter in the soon-to-be released book, Living Superfood Solutions. Spinal cord injury, stem cell therapy using BM, bone marrow-derived mesenchymal stem cells, BMMSCs, or adipose tissue-derived MSCs. Those are derived from fat cells. Now, once we get into this therapy and we're dealing with revitalizing pancreatic function, liver function, then naturally the adipose tissue-derived stem cells, ATMSCs, or adipose tissue-derived mesenchymal stem cells, will naturally be in a proliferating environment from what our actions are about. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. I'm trying not to be too technical, but the more I speak, the more excited I get. The more excited I get, the more my body wants to reach for the perfect words to describe the processes we are about to witness. So, spinal cord injury, with promising results in improving motor and sensory function. We may not restore you to getting up and walking and running, even though one of my clients did. One of my clients put away his wheelchair. He struggled. He worked for many, many months. But he got up and he started walking. Last I talked to him, it's been months ago, and I'm overdue for a conversation. He was walking with a cane after being confined to a wheelchair with debilitating bone degeneration. And that was because he was living the right life and his stem cells were proliferating and differentiating. Traumatic brain injury. Trauma, meaning injury to the brain, physical, concussion, and or tissue being carved out from some blow. Stem cell therapy using BM MSCs or adipose tissue derived MSCs has been explored as a potential treatment for spinal cord injury. I just read that one. Traumatic brain injury, with some studies showing improved cognitive function and reduced inflammation. Vitiligo, the development of stem cell therapies for vitiligo focuses on the ability of stem cells to regenerate melanocytes, the cells responsible for producing melanin, which gives skin its color. This involves two types of stem cells, MSCs, mesenchymal stem cells, and induced reprogrammed pluripotent stem cells. Well, we're not going to be dealing with the reduced, but we will be dealing with stem cells created by the body, autogenous. And this involves actually three types. If I include theirs, the one we're not going to be using, three types: stem cells, mesenchymal stem cells, autogenous, and that would include the adipose tissue, and induced reprogrammed pluripotent stem cells. Autogenous, pluripotent. And so, wound healing, last one. Stem cell therapy is proving effective for skin rejuvenation and the treatment of conditions like burns and chronic wounds. It's essential to note that while these studies show promise, stem cell therapy is still an emerging field, and more research is needed to fully understand its efficacy and safety for these and other diseases. Additionally, the specific stem cell type, source, and delivery method used can impact treatment outcomes. Consult healthcare professionals for advice tailored to specific medical conditions. And I do recommend that you do that. You get a clear understanding of what medical condition you're dealing with. But during our course, it's going to include, and I'm just going to put some notes down here to myself, it's going to include understanding key principles. It is going to include detoxifying the body and environment. It will include focus on epigenetic processes. It will also include dietary pathways, that's the word, for optimizing stem cell proliferation. It would means for utilizing both BM-MSCs, bone marrow derived mesenchymal stem cells, and AT stem cells, adipose tissue derived stem cells, ATSCs. So I'll get all that. So these, and it includes access to a, what's the word? Access to a formula. It's a specific word I'm looking for. Formula for a daily smoothie and a list of supplements that build natural, holistic stem cell development. And the word I was looking for, access to a proprietary. Because I'm not putting this formula out there, not until I've verified, proven that it works for everyone the way it worked for me. Proprietary. So that's it. This class begins December 1st. I'm going to put the first hint out of it in case you want to get in on it. A single payment. The single payment here is here. And then there is another one with a multiple payment. You can make 2 payments, 1 month apart, 2 monthly payments, I should say. Is going to be here, and the 2 monthly payments, boom. So that's what this is going to be about. I am excited. I hope you're excited. I'm going to put this up right now for in case somebody wants to be the first person. I'm going to give you the opportunity. I did put up a link a little bit earlier. I'll put it up on my YouTube page, but I'm also going to put this up on my Facebook page, which allows me a little bit deeper engagement. So real quickly, going to put this up on Facebook. If you are my Facebook friend, if you're not already, do friend me as soon as you possibly can. But I'm putting up this link, and I'm going to put up the picture that you saw along with it, so that you can see a living example of what it is that we're encouraging all of us to strive for, all of us to want to achieve, all of us to believe is our natural inheritance. So we're talking about, where am I at? I'm over here with this picture. Can I save this again? Kitty after 56 day, I can easily find that. Go to Kitty folder of photos, Kitty after 56 day, before and after photograph, and you tell me what you see. Just be as honest as you want to be, as you need to be. And let's imagine that we're going to be able to do this. We're going to be able to do this together. That we are the masters of our fate. We are the captains of our soul. So on that note, did I get it up? I think I did. I pushed it up here. Let me do this photograph one more time. Oh, I did get it up. I just looking at the wrong place. There we go. All right. Well, we are here. It's been a good day, before and after. And I hope you find this to be okay. Let me just double check, make sure everybody who got a chance to get everything in, you wanted to say hello for Africa One is in the house, Basuranda in the house. A good size audience, believe it or not. Even though I'm a little perplexed that people aren't talking, that they're not saying anything. Can somebody congratulate a brother for the before and after? I did this again in March 2021. I completed this 2-month-long 56-day process. So that means I began it in January. And so this is what it looked like when just before spring. Actually, this is the first day of spring, March 21st. I don't know. It was March 2021. I don't remember what day of the month it was. I can go back and find this. But I'm excited about this. So on that note, I want to thank you all for tuning in today. You've been tuned into LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. I encourage all of us to find a program, to get with something that will work for you. Today we have been talking about stem cell rejuvenation. Actually, the program theme, holistic stem cell therapy, natural proliferation and activation. The body has a DNA encoded process for replacing stem cells. For replacing cells, it relies on stem cells. These are cells with the potential to develop into many different types of cells in the body. They serve as a repair system for the body. There are two main types of stem cells: embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Our ability to create the ideal internal environment that facilitates the maximum function of adult stem cell creation and differentiation is key to conscious control over our relationship to aging. So this exciting new therapeutic field is being proposed for respiratory distress, autoimmune diseases, blood disorders, cancer treatment, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, liver regeneration, neurodegenerative diseases, reversing signs of aging, sickle cell disease, vitiligo, and many more disorders. That's exciting stuff, people. I cannot overemphasize just how exciting all of this is to your brother. So on that note, We're going to wrap it up for today. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends to join us. There should be a whole lot more people logged in, signed in, following my daily broadcasts. Some of these will appear on YouTube, like today's broadcast, but many of them won't, because YouTube has a tendency to want to censor my dialogue and research on science. And quite simply, the research is too important. It's too well done. I have too long an experience of this to allow them to treat me that way. So we come up with other solutions and other places where you can find this information. Tell your friends to tell their friends. We have our own now. And we're very, very proud of who we are, what we do, and those who are moving along with us. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you.